Check, sound check. Please confirm. No one's confirming. It's making me think I don't have sound. Hi, Don, are you hearing me? Sound is good. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Good to see everybody again. I mean, by now you've been watching and attending these webinars. I mean, your skill set, I know mine's increased. I hopefully can say the same for all of you. And I'm excited about each and every one of these. The more I learn, the more intelligence I guess I can have when I'm chatting with somebody. And PWAs is a game changer. I know we use that term lightly or loosely, because everybody wants to say, hey, next level, game changer, right? Yeah, or the commercial now, we're a rock star. But it is. I mean, there's not too often something comes around that it's still so in its infant style stage, this PWA. I mean, it's a secret, hidden little beast of an animal that really opens up the playing field for basically anybody online. I mean, what we try to do here is, yes, Silvio goes through the details of it, but while he's going over it, I hope ideas start popping into your head into industries you can do, ways you can. To me, a progressive web app also is one of those ones that is designed to be on the move. What I mean is always have a few PWAs hooked up on your phone, so no matter where you go, you can always show it. I mean, it's a powerful thing. If companies such as the Vendastas and numerous other places that's one of their favorite features. I mean, it kind of goes without saying. We'll be bringing it out on JB Zoo again because, quite simply, we had on a daily basis almost 20 people contact us saying, I want to promote progressive web apps, and we weren't even for sale in JB Zoo. It was an archived product that we were like, how is anybody finding this? Because you literally have to go into JB Zoo and type in progressive web apps, and we're it. So Tycho, if you want to look, I private message you too. We've been trying to reach out to you individually. I've been messaging you in Skype and also emails. So please respond. Please respond. Hi, Annie. Wait, I know a couple Annies. Is this the Annie? The PH Annie? Hi, Hazel. That's what I thought. Awesome. Oh, also, let me hear. Okay, so FYI, I'm doing an Academy sales webinar coming toward the end of the month here, and I'm starting to transition away from Webinar Ninja over into Academy and using that. So let me share something here. And this is a registration link for Academy Sales Webinar sign up. Now, forgive me as I am, even though I've had Academy for a long time, I've been learning it. Hopefully you all have Academy and have been learning it too. I mean, it is, the more I look at it, the more powerful that Academy platform becomes, and the more everything else kind of fits in place with it, if you will. So basically that's my initial attempt, if you will, of using our system to set up a Zoom webinar outside of Webinar Ninja. And then that goes, if that goes without saying and everything works flawlessly, which through my user error, eventually it will, I'm going to save myself over $1,200 a year right there. $1,200 a year. Okay. That's like, imagine if somebody just walks up to you and says, I'm going to give you $1,200 to go do this step. You're going to do it? Yeah. Then that's basically what, like, because I was just really in shock of what our Academy all entails. So Exactly. Exactly. And wait till if you start thinking and digging into some of the stuff in our platform, you can start seeing, marketing all over the place, different ways you can use this for selling because there's so much in that platform, but you have to use it. You have to play with it in order to see all that it entails. Like if you're just out there building a PWA website and, offering PWA, but yet your website is not a all right, booted me out. But yeah, so if your main website is not a PWA, but yet you have a PW, we'll be turning ours into one too, but we're doing some tweaking. Uh, Turn it into a PWA. If you don't have a business card, you should have a business card. If you don't have a restaurant one, you should have a restaurant one. If you don't have an e-commerce one, you should have an e-commerce one. See, what I like to do is you do like a catch-all, if you will, like an e-commerce one, right? Well, that's everything, right? Maybe also a food ordering one would be another one. Oh, hello,
Hello, everybody.
Mr.
How
Steve
you all
Jobs,
doing?
turtleneck.
No, no, it's actually a hood, a sweater, or how you call it, a hood. I
I
mean,
know.
now I'm dressed like Mark Zuckerberg. That's the only
Oh, there
time
you go.
I'm allowed to wear it. It's starting to get a little bit colder, so I can
Yeah, I'm
now
in layers myself and trying to keep my feet
yeah,
warm.
I can finally wear my hoodies. Hello, Annie. Hello, everybody. Hi, Chris. Hi, everybody. How you all doing? So, did I interrupt anything interesting?
No, no, no. We were just chit chatting a bit, a little bit about the PWA and kind of things that we've done and we see others do, which is basically make yourself a bunch of PWA examples. So every time you're basically at that point loading your gun, if you will. Every time you walk around with your cell phone, you want to pull that thing out to show not only your business card, but maybe a restaurant PWA, an e-commerce PWA. I mean, just whatever you can kind of come up with, you want those examples on there, and then go show it to everybody, if you will. And then, but that's kind of what I was just talking about. Yeah, yes, Rob,
Yeah.
and we'll get into that too as well. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, actually, I think this webinar was long due in a sense that we sometimes forget almost, with all the things that we have, we sometimes forget that we are also a great platform, one of the best platforms, I think, for building PWAs, right? So it was important for me to take a time actually to, because again, we are having, and I'm talking about me, and I hope I talk about you too, guys. We are having so much fun exploring now the platform that sometimes we lose like the forest for the trees, right? And so we miss one of the great features that we have on our platform. And researching, let's say, because obviously I need to study a little bit every time that we do our webinars, and researching, the PWA topic, either technically, but especially, the business case for PWAs. I mean, it's amazing actually what you can do, and it's amazing how the web was able, the web community was able to come up with, right, to compete and to, in a way, overcome native apps. Because we never have to forget that all this happened because we are moving, obviously, and we know this very well. We are moving toward a mobile world, and we are fully mobile. And so the natural step was to build some technologies which we will explore. And I want to take some time actually to show you and to explain you what PWAs are, because that is extremely important. And once we see what they are, the value that we provide with our tool, I think, will become even more evident and even more apparent. So I think that is really what I wanted to do, what I want to do today. And again, this was a very long due webinar, because you have to remember, and I'm starting to answer a few questions, for example, the one from Rob. that everything that we saw so far in all our webinars, so everything like the e-commerce part, the, I don't know, food ordering, anything, any feature, the coupon, the scratch card, and all that, everything that we have can be transformed and added to a PWA. So we have layers on top of layers, right? You have a website which can do, I don't know, booking for your nail salon, but that is also a PWA. It's also an app that your users can, and we'll see this, that your users can install on their phones, and where that you can use to send push notifications. So again, it's like taking what we have and then like expanding it to the you know to add absolute power, right? Because again, you leverage the tools that the web, right, the web allows us to use, and that our platform allows you to use. Because sometimes we overlook this also on our end as developers or as technical people. We forget the value, right, that our solutions can actually be used for in the hands of somebody like you, like all the people that are actually here. So in the hands of people that will use it in real life examples, in real life situations, with real businesses, with real needs, real customers, and especially real results. We will see how much PWA can improve the business results of any business that will use it, right? So that is a little bit where I wanted to start from, and yeah, I don't know, Scott, if you want to add something, or if you can jump right into the let's say my usual small show.
Yes.
And by the way, we are finally done with let's say pretty much done with that famous new widget that we talked about. So maybe we can have a little bit of a preview at the end of the webinar. So obviously stay here, but I know you all stay here until the end, and I'm really grateful for that, and really happy that you are enjoying these webinars as much as I am, actually, as much as we are, right? All right, so I wanted to start, so let me share my screen. And I wanted to start, no, let's share the full screen. All right. And I wanted to start with, okay, I should be sharing my screen. I wanted to start, I mean, once in our webinars, we never use slides or that kind of stuff, because I want to show and share my screen and share, what I do on my screen. But once, let me use a few slides, because I think, again, I want to introduce the PWA theme and topic as it deserves, right? Because again, I want to stress that by studying this topic, I understood once more how important they are, and how effective and how life-changing in a way, or business-changing, they can be. First of all, what are PWAs? And I guess you are seeing my screen, right? You are seeing the little, a few slides that I prepared, right? Scotty, can you confirm that? I guess, yeah. I hope you are all seeing my screen. All right. Anyway, so
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
very good, very good, very good. As you see here, this graph, and as we often say, an image is worth 1,000 words. This graph, I think, summarizes the power in just a few lines and drawings, the power of progressive web apps. Because you see that we have, let's say, the capabilities axis. So what you can do, what an app can do. Obviously, we are talking mostly about mobile devices, but we are talking also about desktop devices, and that is another additional feature of progressive web apps. So clearly, native apps have an advantage over web apps. Web apps are, let's say, websites, okay? Because native apps, they have access to the accelerometer, they have access to geolocation, and all that. At the same time, though, web apps have a much higher reach. What it means? What does it mean? What do we mean when we say reach? A native app, as you all know, needs to be, let's say, downloaded from the app stores, installed on a device. And so they, first of all, need to be approved by the app store. Then you need to find it, be able to find it, search it, and all that. A web app or a website, in this case, has just a URL. So you open your browser, which is a standard app that you have on your phone, on your desktop computer, or whatever. So you open your browser, you type a URL, you scan a QR code, and you reach it anywhere. There's no gatekeeper, right? There's no walled garden. It's something that you can access in any case. The PWA, the progressive web apps, and the technologies that come with progressive web apps, they combine the best of both worlds, right? Because as we will see, they have a lot of the capabilities that native apps have, like caching, like working offline, like push notifications, like geolocation, and all those extremely powerful technologies, while at the same time, and we will see it live on the platform, being as reachable, as simple as websites, because after all, they're like a layer, or let's say something that surrounds a website. So you start from a website and you build, right, a layer around it, which allows that website to gain access, to be able to use native apps capabilities to build a progressive web app. So as you can see here, you literally, in this case, combine the best of both worlds, right? And so this graph is extremely clear in showing what a PWA is in terms of, let's say, in ideal terms, right? So it's a software, right? It's an app which has the same capabilities of native apps, and the same reachability, let's say, the same reach of web apps, of websites. So these are the three main pillars of progressive web apps. Are, first of all, that they are capable. What we mean by that is that they have those capabilities, as we said, that usually were reserved only to native apps. So geolocation, caching, then some more technical stuff like WebRTC, which is like a communication channel, which allows, for example, to create live chats or something like that. Then, given the speed and the caching features that are native, that are innate into progressive web apps, they are extremely reliable because they are extremely fast, and they can be used in some cases also offline. And then they are installable, which is a huge advantage of progressive web apps, because when you go to a website, you see it and then you forget it. Maybe you add it to your favorites, but you forget it. When a website asks you, do you want to add this app? Do you want to add a link? Because it's always a link, it's not an app. Do you want to add it to the home screen? You didn't go through a web store, an app store, right? You didn't have to search for that. You went to that website. So you are, and we will see this in one of the next slides, you are already half engaged. You don't have to be totally engaged, but the user is half engaged with that website. And so at that moment, the software, the website asks you, do you want to install me to your home screen? That is the little step that changes dramatically the relationship that the user has with your website, right? Let's imagine, again, let's do an example. Let's imagine a restaurant website, right? You go to the restaurant website, maybe you do a food ordering, you order some food, and that's it. Then you have to remember, who was it? What was the URL? So let me search on Google. Oh, there's another restaurant. And so you get lost a little bit. But let's imagine that you go to the restaurant website without going through the app store, because you are not in the mood. I mean, if you want to order some food, you don't want to install an app and log in and all that. So you go to the restaurant website, and the website says, do you want to add this to the home screen, right? So I will always be there. I mean, I will not clutter or anything. the next time you want to order something, you already have that website, that progressive web app on your phone. So you will just click, and maybe the majority of the content will be cached, so it will open instantly, and it will be a native-like experience without the burden of having, to install it and all that. These are now I'm going to give you some examples, some real life examples of results and cases and business cases that I want to show you to help you understand how progressive web apps can dramatically change the results that you get out of an existing website. For example, this is, let's say, something which is related to progressive web apps, but in general to website speed, which, as you know, is one of our main focus and main topics, and one of the main thing that we focus our attention on. This is a real case study. 100 milliseconds in improved load time increased by 0.5% the add to cart count, which might not seem a lot, but this is basically the bottom line, right? Because if you add to cart, so if you increase that with just a technological advancement, which in any case we would take care of implementing and of managing, it's free money. It's literally free money, right? So this is where, for example, progressive web apps and the caching and all that would come into play, right? Because that would make the experience of the user much faster, much more enjoyable, with that automatic increase in add to cart. Bear in mind that we are talking about eBay, so we are talking about a platform, one of the biggest companies on the web, right? So they already were most likely pretty performing, right? Imagine when you go to you go to a customer which has a restaurant website, which is a restaurant, they have a website, and most likely they are not very fast. I mean, their website most likely is a bloated WordPress version, or like even worse, like Wix or something like that. You give them something which will load in half the time. This 0.5% will easily become 10, 15, 20% more orders, just because people will not get frustrated, will get a reliable and enjoyable experience on that website, and it will convert a lot more. That's what I was mentioning earlier, right? PWAs can reach the semi-engaged users, right? So let's say that we have people that just visit the website, they're tire kickers, or in general just visit the website. Then we have some people which are relatively interested, but they will never install a native app. They will never go through the hassle of searching for your app, or in general add another app to their webs, to their another native app to their phone and all that. And then we have the engaged users, right? The people who would install your native app. PWAs, given that the installation, the add to home screen experience is a lot faster and smoother, you don't have to leave the website. You are on the website, a small pop-up comes up, you just have to click on a button, and that's all, right? This means that you can reach also a good chunk of semi-engaged users, which, as usual, like the middle tier is always the largest one, right? Because the engaged users, that's all right. You have already earned those. Those are already engaged, right? They're not engaged, whatever. In that moment, they're not engaged, they're not interested, or whatever. This is usually the largest chunk, right? So if you can tap into this segment right here, that immediately gives you an edge, a business edge over your competitors, right? Because again, let's keep doing the restaurant example. These are the people who know that they want to eat at that place, they want to order from that place. So, okay, we have already those. These are the ones which maybe would order, maybe they were just searching for ideas or whatever. These are the people who are, yes, ready to order, but they will never install a native app for that restaurant, right? So that option to just click a button without leaving the website, without going through ads or anything else. They just click a button and the app will install on their device. That maybe takes a few of these, which, given that it's the largest chunk, can really make a huge difference in the bottom line. Progressive web apps can be helpful, can function also when offline, right? Because again, with the caching functionalities that a PWA offers, you can have some parts or even all of the parts of your website, of your progressive web app, available also when online. So for example, again, here are some examples, but you can have like a boarding pass or like a menu downloaded on, let's say, and available also when offline. You can have some saved items in the basket. You can have like phone number or directions or instructions on how to get to the store, how to get to the location, even when offline, right? So that also, this one also is extremely, extremely valuable, extremely helpful, right? And finally, obviously, one of the most important features of progressive web apps are web notification, web push notifications, right? That is obviously cannot, you have to be careful. You don't have to abuse it, because people would otherwise report you, or this is block notifications and all. But web push notifications are can be extremely powerful, right? Because again, people wouldn't even notice. I think one of the many values of progressive web apps is the seamlessness of the experience, right? You just go to a website, so reach is maximum. You are not searching on the app store. You are not like need to what. You just go to a website, and maybe you landed there from your ads on Facebook, on AdWords, or you landed there from your SEO efforts, right? So from a search on a search engine. So the let's say intent of the user is extremely business oriented, right? So at that point, you get there, you ask the user to add to home screen. It's just a click, it clicks it, and at the same time, you capture that user in your list of registered devices. So you can send a notification to that user, right? It only has to allow it with one click, right? Again, maximum reach, maximum capability. All right. So that was my little presentation about progressive web apps. And all right, okay. Let me ask a few. Let me answer a few questions. Surely the biggest benefit, push notifications. Yes, I think that's about the biggest. Added home screen is bigger. Yes, absolutely. Agree, Scotty. Great explanation of the difference. Thank you, Chandra. I'm pretty sure we really need to add it to the lock screen notification, segmented push notification. Yeah, I agree. Just quick about a podcast website. Could it be a PWA? Yes, absolutely, Dawn. That's a great question. Yeah, I thank you, Scotty, for answering while I present. But at the same time, I also want to take the chance to talk a little bit and expand on the answers. So an example of podcast website could easily be a PWA. Exactly. So again, you could cut off middlemen like Spotify, like Apple, because let's never forget that Apple and Android, they are very, let's say, large middlemen, right? In a sense that, especially for iOS, so for Apple, they have a very, very strict process for adding your app to the app stores. Then let's never forget another huge advantage of progressive web apps. They are web apps. What that means is that anywhere there's a browser, they work, right? With the same code base. So if you want to build a native app, you have to build it for iOS, which is extremely expensive. And then you have to build it for Android, which again can be extremely expensive. And it's twice, right? Because you have to once and once. And the two code bases, well, clearly they might share some like API access, some code. Well, they don't share any code. They might share some like structure or something like that. And then you have to maintain it. And then let's never forget another thing. Again, I talked so far about, let's say, the business value that they provide to the end user or to the actual business owner. But under a technical point of view, since I'm talking to relatively technical people, right, which need to be and are happy, I hope, to be aware of the technical aspects. When you update your native app, you usually need to resubmit it to the app stores, right? So you have to go through the approval process again, and then your customers, your users, need to reinstall it, right? So they will be prompted to install it, so they will see the app which updates, maybe the block auto updates and all that. With a PWA, with a progressive web app, there's none of that, because it's a website. It is exactly a website, which layers of technology on top of it. So when you change a word, when you change the structure, when you change anything, it is immediately visible. It is immediately available. You don't have to go through any approval process by whom. I don't know. I mean, why would I need to be approved to have my content, my website, my stuff, my business, approved or vetted, or worse, blocked? Because let's never forget this. When you build your business on rented land, the owner of that land, Apple for the App Store, Google, Alphabet, whatever it's called, for Android or whatever, they can always shut down your business. So it's very, very risky. That is why I always see all of these platforms, again, and this applies to all of the aspects of the web business, so, or of the digital business. Spotify, Apple for again apps, anything. Facebook, that's the worst landlord that you can have if you think about it, because again, they can take away your land, let's say, at any time, right? They can shut down your business, and you cannot afford to do that. You can leverage those platforms for what they are. They could be like launch pads, they can be marketplaces, they can be marketing channels, but you should own the land where you build your store. And that is what a platform like MobiFirst allows you to do, always allows you to do. Do PWAs have the capability of geofencing push notifications? No. Let's say that it's not native. It can be, let's say, baked in, but it's a pretty hard technology to actually implement. So they don't have it. We might come up with some solution which would offer something similar, but at the moment it's not like with native apps where there is geofencing. Can individual pages be represented by one PWA? So you could have multiple PWAs on one site. No, usually, Brian, thank you for this question. The PWA, let's say, I mean, in theory, you could have, I would, on our platform, for example, I would have different websites, though, even one single page websites, but different websites. Each one can be its own PWA. Let's say that a PWA is represented by usually a domain, right? So all of the pages, so it reasons relatively often by using the domain concept, right? So if your website is in under the same domain, then at that point that is considered, let's say, same, like the same PWA. And that is especially true, for example, for caching, right? Because when you tell the PWA, tell the system what pages to cache, you can tell only pages which are within a certain domain. Again, you can use whatever you can build single page websites, and each one of those can be its own PWA, right? But having one website with each page as a PWA would somehow defeat also the meaning of a PWA, because again, a PWA bundles together, for example, for caching, again, bundles together the same website. Chandra, will it also give name and email when they click the PWA? No, in a sense that when they add it to the home screen or when they enable push notifications, we will get some anonymous data, right? I mean, as a default, you get anonymous data. You get like the browser version, I think, and then some other unique identifier, which is not related to the person. But obviously, as you know, you can then on your website on MobiFirst build all of the widgets that you want, including a free form where you ask for name and password. So at that point, you can have a much more granular control over who you're actually sending your notifications to, right? Yes, Keith. It's a good idea to we will explore geofencing. It's not easy to implement because it's not native on push notifications on progressive web apps, on web push notifications, but it's something that we will explore. We could come up with something where you send a push notification, and before being delivered, the system checks the location of the user. So only when within a certain radius of again a point, the notification will actually be shown. That could be a good idea, and we will absolutely explore that. John, does Apple yet support PWAs? Well, let's say that the support on Apple is the let's say lightest one, the least complete. Yet there are, I think, in the newest, and let me search for it. In the newest iOS version, the let's say in the newest iOS. Okay, so let me read it from let me read it from share. Look at me install with manifest. Okay. Appears on home screen. The newest support, the newest versions of iOS will actually are starting to being supported, right? So the caching, for example, works. The web push, which is I think the most important one that we wanted to talk about, works only starting from iOS 16.4, all right? So the newest versions, only for installed PWAs. But that was like a revolution, right? Because Apple, let me tell you just this. The original vision by by the founder of Apple. Sorry, I have a second. By Steve Jobs. The original vision for the iPhone was a completely web-based device, right? He wanted, and if you remember, I bought like the iPhone 2. I never had the iPhone 1, but I bought the iPhone 2, and it had a browser, and you could do a lot of things on the browser, which obviously the other phones were not able to do. After a little while, they started to understand that the App Store could be a huge profit center for them because they take a 30% share, I think at least a 30% share of all the transactions that happen on the App Store, right? So that's where they pivoted away from the web app model, right? So they've been forcing a lot of the walled garden approach. The PWA model, let's say the PWA technology, has been mostly pushed by Google and other consortiums and other communities like Mozilla, like the builders, the creators of the Firefox browser, which are a lot more for the open web and trying to take away market share from Apple. The fact that in the latest iOS, one of the latest iOS versions, Apple added web push notification, which, as we said earlier, is probably one of the most important technologies, right? That PWA offer. That's a revolution, right? That means that even Apple understood that this phenomenon cannot be stopped. So I think that even if PWAs are already extremely important, there was a time during which Facebook, for example, believed a lot in PWAs, and the main Facebook app was a PWA. Then they need more performances, so they reverted back to a native app. But for a time, and LinkedIn, I think, is still, or part of LinkedIn is still a progressive web app. So huge apps. You have to think about huge apps used by millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people every day, right? So that once more means that PWAs are definitely the future, right? Because again, let's not forget that 90% of websites can be PWA, and 99% of businesses need a website. 90% can be a PWA. 10% makes sense to actually be a native app. So there's this huge gap where everybody will have and will benefit from having a PWA. Yes, Keith, exactly. Yes, Dan, exactly. Okay, native apps are gatekeeper. Exactly, Keith. Don't like exactly. Yeah, John. No, notifications to subscribe can be used, John. Yeah, I get a PWA works for both iPhone and Android, but as far as I know, notification subscribers don't. They sometimes work. They can work, and they're started to work from on iOS 16.4. Keith, can we use subdomains for PWAs? Yes, of course. I mean, you can use whatever domain you want. I mean, in the sense that what I meant by domain, I meant the full domain, right? So subdomain and domain, right? So you can use whatever you want for your app, for your web app, and you could even, if you think about it, you could even use like a subdomain for your progressive web app, and maybe which is just mobile, for example. That could be a strategy. A subdomain for your progressive web app, and then the regular domain for your regular website could be an approach that somebody may like. Can we customize and enlarge the add to home screen pop-up? Patrick, no. The add to home screen on the native, because that is the advantage of the native home screen. Add to home screen. In some case, that depends. For example, on some desktop, because, and that is the beauty. Sorry, let me add one more thing about the development, let's say the technical side. We said that the progressive web apps allows you to write one single code base for Android and iOS. But there's another platform for which you can use the same code base, desktop. That's incredible if you think about it, because again, the beauty of progressive web app is that they adapt themselves to the device that it is used, right? So you can send a push notification, a web push notification, which will be shown on the screen of a mobile phone and on the screen on a desktop computer. That is incredible if you think about it. With just one click, with just one only one interface, only one code base. That is huge. That is fantastic, I think, because in that case, if you wanted a desktop app, a native iOS app, and a native Android app, you would have three different code bases, right? One, maybe JavaScript on your desktop, let's say on your web, then Swift on iOS, and Java on. So these three separate languages, similar. I mean, they all come from C language, but three totally separate code bases, right? So three developers teams, three builds, three and all that. Can push notifications use images? You can send a little icon. We'll see it later. Danny, so could you explain how PWA will deal with video? Well, actually, it's a website. It's a website, so you could store it. I mean, you could store any asset in the cache. Obviously, the cache size is limited in size, so it wouldn't make much sense to actually store a whole video. But they will just be shown. Again, let's not forget that the basic thing is that a PWA is a website with some technology layers and expansions on top of it. Okay, sorry, let me go a little bit fast. Should have the website fully. Okay, let me ask, and can push notifications to use images. Is the option to have a geolocation? Now, Will, again, is the option to have a geolocation to trigger a push notification? That is what I was referring to. That is the, let's say, that is the other side of the geofencing, the geolocation. So it is something we will work on. Again, this would not be in any case native to the PWA technology. So that's not, that's something that we will have to work on. John, that's the client determining the notifications. I'm not sure what you mean. If you, by client, you mean like the user, the owner of the website? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, okay, the notification show on my website on the iPhone and with the PWA install. Exactly. So if you have the latest version of, or a version of iOS from 16.4 and above, and you have installed the PWA, you get the push notification. That is huge. That is really, really huge, guys. I mean, if Apple is on board, we won. I mean, that's the, I mean, that's it. That, I mean, we hit the jackpot. On the MobiFirst platform, it says that you should have the website fully complete. What about updating pages, adding pages? No. You can, Brad. I don't know. I'm not sure. I understand what pages you are referring to, or what messaging you are referring to. But again, it's a website. You change the website, your PWA will update itself. Obviously, there's just one little caveat there, because if you're using caching, right? So the caching means that, and you are using like the offline version, it means that some data is actually stored on the device, right? That's what caching means. It's cached. It is stored on the device. So when you update the online version, the cached version will take a little bit to be updated, but you don't have to go through. I mean, it's immediate if you're not using hard, let's say, caching for the website, right? Keith, yes, waited 10 years for Apple to open up push notification. Yeah, exactly. Geofencing is a native app technology with mobile wallet. There are native apps. Geolocation is available for Apple. Yeah, can get your if it ain't broken, fix. Yeah, yeah. Then Abra is talking about geofencing. Let's say that geofencing in itself is a native app technology. Absolutely, I totally agree. At the same time, and that's our job, that's what we like to do, we are problem solvers, right? So you can find ways, and that's the beauty also of the web technologies. You can find ways where, for example, you could geolocation is a feature that is available to PWAs and to modern websites, right? So if you enable it, the system will be alerted and know where you are, right? So what could be done is that you could poll. It depends if the device allows this or not. But a solution could be that you could poll the geolocation API, right? So you could get the location of your device and then send it back to the server, let's say, in this case, to the MobiFirst servers. And then at that point, if you are within that certain radius, the system sends you a push notification. Clearly, it's not as smooth in this case as the native geofencing, obviously, but it's something that could work, that could be effective in some ways. I would think, and I would reason without this. I would, imagine my strategy without these kind of features, because again, they are usually considered, especially nowadays, a pretty strong violation of privacy. So I wouldn't bet too much on these technologies. Not, let's say, traditional push notifications should be could be leveraged to get some great results, actually. Okay, we push do notification work on desktop? Yes, John, the notifications work also on desktop PWAs. Yes, absolutely. SMS is old technology. I kind of agree, Dan, even if we started, one of the core modules of the MobiFirst platform was, and probably could be in the future, SMS marketing. I think that for certain cases, they still work pretty effectively. And so that's why we are, and that's a little bit of a teaser of things to come. But I think we might, revamp a little bit our SMS technology, because when you, like, say, send a message, a keyword, to subscribe, to get a coupon, I think SMS is still, again, it had a huge, it was the top technology, let's say, in the mid 2000, until the mid 2000. Then push notifications came along, then always on, especially, you're always on, so you poll rather than push, right, in a sense that you keep asking content from Instagram or whatever, from your feed, rather than be fed. I think it might see a resurgence in the last years, in this last period. So I wouldn't bet too much on the fact that SMS, it's old technology, that is true. Maybe it's not dead, though. Who can initiate a push notification? You can. Again, you as the website owner, you can initiate a push notification. Kevin, that is a great question. Actually, can push notification be segregated? So let's say segmented. At the moment, you can. At the moment, you send to everybody. It would be interesting. It's to be interesting to understand how to segment push notifications, depending on, I don't know. We need to understand what dimensions. We would need to segment what cohorts we will need to create. But yes, that could be pretty interesting. But now, let me go to actually show you, because we have only talked about these push notifications. So let's go actually now to the PWA builder. All right, I'm sharing. Yes, I'm sharing my screen now. So let's start from a website. This is actually a pretty nice website, you see. So we have this website. I think Benny created it, I imagine. So that's kudos to him, actually. So that's a website, and you need to have a domain which HTTPS. Okay, yeah, that's another requirement. The domain, so the website needs to have a domain. It needs to be HTTPS. That is, let's say, mandatory. All right. So we have built our website. This is the site builder. Nothing strange. This is the website, right? Then we go into progressive web apps. All right. So we go here. And here we have the list of our progressive web apps. All right. And to create a progressive web app, now check this out. This is extremely complex. You click here. Okay. You select from the drop down the website that you want to transform into a progressive web app, and then you click on create a PWA. That is literally all you have to do to create a PWA. Then clearly you can update it. You can, and I will gonna say this, but to create your PWA, you build a website regularly, starting from a template. You do whatever you want, the usual stuff, right? And then you just click on create a PWA from this site after you have chosen it from your dropdown. And that's it. That's all you have to do on MobiFirst to create your progressive web app, right? Once you have created it, you get here, right? So at this point, this PWA is ready, okay, because it has an HTTPS, it has a domain. We have added a name, a description, and an icon. These are essential for the add to home screen, for the push notifications, and in general for the manifest, which it's, let's say, the technology which allows PWAs to actually be created. And then you can also choose a theme, and you can use a category, and you can specify a category, because let's not forget that now we haven't talked about this yet. But in reality, there are, first of all, PWA's directories, right? Again, a progressive web app is a regular website. This website is, and this PWA is available here. This is the URL, the address of the PWA. That is no app stores, no verification, no approval, nothing. You log in on MobiFirst, you create your website, you select it from the drop down, you say, I want this a PWA, and your PWA is ready and visible at the URL where you added the domain. That is all you have to do. There's nothing else that you have to do. That is incredible. Again, in addition to this, there are ways, you see, App Stores management and options. There are ways that allow you to transform, if you really want to, and if your customer maybe really wants to transform your PWA into a native app. At the moment, this is especially viable and especially, let's say, not really easy, but it's doable for Android. All right. These parts, these things right here will come into play in that case, because in that case, then these items, the name, the description, the background color, the category will be used for, the actual bundle that you will have to submit to Android, to the Android App Store and all that. All right. So here we have created, that is all you have to do. We have some advanced options. If you don't know what, these are, don't touch them. But anyway, you can disable some of the features that you're not interested in. For example, you want to disable the add to home screen because you want to. All right. So at this point, let's see this push notification, this PWA. All right. So let's open another web. And here you will notice push notification. Okay. You see now it's in Italian, but trust me, it says Moby Burgers wants to show notification, and we say okay, allow. And this is desktop. You see, you can go with your phone, obviously, because it's a URL, and so you can go wherever you want. But yes, we allow push notifications, right? And then check this out: burger menu demo, right? Add to home screen. And answering your question, somebody's question before, this is a pop-up that we created. So with CSS, you can change this. You can do whatever you want. Okay. And notice that we have this here and also here. You see, this means that we can install, let's say, because here we are on desktop, so we can add it to the home screen. And this is desktop. I'm showing you desktop. The same thing would happen on your mobile, right? And it took us 30 seconds to do this. And now let's check this out. Let's go in the push notifications. All right. And so here we see the list of past subscribers. All right. So you see that we get this thing right here, that we get like just the browser, the IP address, and the date. Now we are not seeing ourselves big problem because it's still taking some time to actually send it. It usually has some lag, let's say, in the time where you accept the push notifications and then they are approved. All right. So you get this, and then when you want to send to these users again, and we will work on segmenting them, we will work on cohorts, on segmentation. But the only thing you have to do to send a push notifications is you click here, create a new push notification for this app, and then you give it a title, maximum 45 characters. You give it a body, maximum 120 characters. You can upload an icon, and then you can add a link. Right here, you add the HTTPS, the link, or you can choose a link. It's just another way of adding a link, right? So you add a link, and this link will be followed when you click on the actual push notifications. And then you can also add a schedule, right? So you can say send one today, one tomorrow, and so on, right? And that is all you have to do to send push notifications to all of the users which actually approved and applied and authorized push notifications for your website, for this progressive web app. And that is all. That is all you need to do. And again, you understand why I spent quite some time explaining the benefits and the advantages of push notifications, because then using it on the platform is too easy. It takes 30 seconds. You build your PWA and all your customers' PWAs in 30 seconds. It's literally too easy. I mean, that's not fair. All right. So, yes, okay. No, wait. Let me answer again. One signal is the boss. Okay. Let me make this clear, because John, again, let me read John's question, and I hope to show the excitement that he's showing. Woo! Are you saying an existing populated website can be used to start PWA MobiFirst site, grabbing all the pre-existing content? Now, that is exactly how it works. You transform, let's say, an existing website, you add on top of your existing websites the PWA technologies. You don't build something from scratch. You start from your existing websites and you transform it into a progressive web app. That is exactly what it is. So you build your website and then you transform it. No need to add other content or whatever. It's a list, it's a layer, it's a set of technologies that are added on top of your existing website. You don't have to recreate anything. You add push notifications, you add caching, you add to home screen to your website. Okay, nothing else. All right. So I want to make, sorry, I thought this was clear. This is how it works. Okay. This is how our platform allows you to work. All right. So you build a PWA in 5 seconds because you just have to click a button. That's all you have to do to build a PWA, to transform or to, again, expand your website into a progressive web app. That is all. Let me answer Chandra too. Can we convert PWA to native app? Is that what you said? How easy it is to convert? It's not easy. It's not easy, but yes, for Android, you can do that. There's a way where you can convert, transform a progressive web app into an Android native app. It's not easy. As you have seen earlier, you have to create an asset file, JSON. I mean, it's not easy, but technically it is possible. To be honest, the toughest part I've encountered so far for me personally is identity verification, in the sense that Google doesn't like the ID card that I send them, and so I could not create a profile on the Android App Store. But yes, you can transform, you can convert a PWA into a native app. Would be nice to go direct to a widget within a page, not just a page with the link option drop down. You can do that, let's say, with the hash sign. I mean, just like you would link to any. But then, you know, especially in a mobile website, if a widget is so important, then at that point, just build a page with that single widget. Can we add coupon with push notification? Chandra, again, I'm not sure I made this clear enough. It's the website that you build with MobiFirst. So it has all of the features, all of the widgets that you can use on MobiFirst: the food ordering, the coupon, the form, the B&B that we will see next time because we don't have time, the anything, right? The scratch card. It's a web, you build a website on MobiFirst, and then you say, okay, now I want to transform it into a PWA. That is all you have to do. It's all you need to do. Nothing else. So you can link, as we said, as we've seen, you can add a link, you click, you link to the page where you have the coupon. And when you click on that, that page will be open. The page that you will have created with your MobiFirst site builder. All right. You could send out a discount code, AMER, of the PWA notification to your user who have accepted notification. Yes, exactly. You could, like, you hide, what you could do, you hide a coupon, right, in your website, which is accessible only when you click on the push notification. So when people click on the push notification, they access the coupon, and at that point, they can claim, the price or whatever, the discount. So that is a very strong incentive, right, to, and you can write that, allow push notifications so we can send you your coupon code. And at that point, you have that user in the list of users of registered devices, and you can send other push notifications. But yes, you can send a push notification which contains a link to something that you want them to do on the website, right? Check out, obviously, that's what push notifications are for. Check out our new offer, fill this form to get a coupon, come see us for a 30% discount tonight at our restaurant, something like that. Can the notification be automatic such that every time a certain tag apps, or do you have to do? At the moment, Don, that's a great question. At the moment, they need to be manually sent. But we will work on all this stuff. Omar, when BNB MobiFirst widget will be available, I would say, I think next week, we're going to talk about CSS, and I'll show you how you can convert, how you can, let's say, replicate a page that you see online using CSS on the website. But I think we will release the BNB in let's say, demo mode, in test mode. We will release it in the next days. So, Omar, what I would ask you is maybe open a ticket because I'm looking for testers and so
exactly.
we can enable it on your account, and you will play with it if you are interested.
And let me suggest something too, Silvio. I do have a Academy webinar, sales webinar I mentioned coming up on the 26th. So what I'm thinking is we'll use that opportunity to also show the VRBO on that too as well. So that would be a great combo. So, and also we are obviously at our time allotment too as well. There's some great questions. You know, David asked one about adding pay stack to payments. We've been asked several times with different ones, and once we're going to be getting around to updating our e-commerce platform, and you know, for the main, if I'm Silvio, correct me if I'm wrong, for the main platform, since you're taking subscriptions and whatnot, it's really going to have to stay to, you know, like the Stripe or PayPal or another one we're working on. But I think as we progress, adding like Paystack, just, you know, you're selling a product, you know, it's not a subscription. I think if I'm not mistaken, we'll be able to add some of those payment gateways down the road. Again, it's just for like an e-commerce, right? You know, somebody wants to buy a product or a service and not run on a subscription.
Yeah.
So those will be coming, and I know Paystack is good for Africa. And so if anybody else is in a different part of the world that you also have some suggestions, we won't know it unless you actually inform us. So please also send a support ticket, because we're not only we opened up in Italy, we're opening up in the Philippines, we're opening up in Brazil, Portugal, and those are all going to be different languages too that the platform will be in. So the more that we have that we can help, the more that it helps you, and we all win-win. So another powerful webinar by Silvio. Again, we could spend all day on progressive web app, folks. I like to get in it in the white label meetings too, because it's a staple. It's a staple in my arsenal and for sales. I must have a PWA to demo, and I have a whole page on my phone that is just chock full of PWAs, and not another person that I've ever come across, unless I meet all of you on the street one day, has that same capability. So yay MobiFirst, and yay all you, and hats off to Mr. Silvio for creating it all. So, all right, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's not forget the webinar in 10 days, right? You said on the 26th.
On the 26th. Yep. I'm going to be giving a couple of platforms away too as well. So that's like basically giving you $3,000 to show up potentially. Right. I'll be sending that link out soon. If you scroll up earlier in the chat, you'll see it there too as well. Let me just put it back in. And here it comes. And again, this is me using Academy to actually do an Academy webinar. So just go in there and just register, but I'll see it out. Again, Silvio, thank you. Thank you, Chris, Annie, Omar, Shanja, Jody, everybody who shows up. We appreciate you. Lyle, everybody, great info, great details. And thank you, everybody. Talk soon.
Yeah.
Bye, Silvio.
Thank you. Bye-bye.